All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Unleashed and Uncensored. I'm here today with our guest, with Dr. Ariana Spina, a vet from the Ottawa and surrounding area, also a former client of mine, and good friend. Thanks.
Hi,
Thanks
guys.
for joining us. Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so today's episode is going to be a bit of a, it's a lot. It's going to encapsulate a lot, but it's going to be a hot topic for a lot of people, and I'm excited about it because I've been looking forward to having you on. There's a lot of questions that I have, a lot of different ways to direct this. We'll try to go pretty overview and dive into the fiery stuff, but I think this could be a lot of fun. So
sounds good. I'm ready.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah. For those of you who don't know Ariana, this is her and I banter really well, and this is going to be a lot of fun and a lot of swearing. So, okay. So actually, why don't you take us through kind of who you are, your background, and how you got into being a vet?
Sure. I'm actually from a small town in northwestern Ontario, so grew up there my whole life, and didn't actually go to southern Ontario until I got my vet school interview. So I'd never been like outside of my hometown until I went for my vet school interview. Knew I wanted to be a vet from the time I was like 3 years old. Wow. So my family would take like home videos and ask me what I wanted to do when I grew up. When I was 3, I said I wanted to be a dog. Yep. And my parents were like, that's not a thing, but they just let me dream my dream.
Nowadays, fucking somebody might take that seriously.
So anyways, needless to say, and I use this in my vet school interview, I chose the next best thing. So I take care of animals for my job. Started doing my undergrad at Lakehead University. I did a biology degree, graduated first class standing, and then got into the Ontario Veterinary College, which is in Guelph. Yep. And was there for 4 years and graduated with honors. Awesome.
Well, congrats. Mm-hmm. And so you decided to come back to the area. What brought you to the Ottawa area specifically?
So it ended up working out in a very weird way. I was doing a graduation trip. I'd never thought about moving to Ottawa, but Josh knows I'm very crazy about my own dog. I only trust specific people, and my friend Olivia lives here. And I was going on a graduation trip, so I brought my dog, and I thought, I might as well look at some clinics in the Ottawa area while I'm going. Yep. Didn't hear anything back, and I was like, wasn't meant to be. The day I came to drop her off, because I was still living in Guelph, I got a call from a clinic, went and interviewed while I was here that same day, and then didn't hear anything for my entire trip when I was gone. Came back to pick up Pippa, and got a call the same day asking about the job. So it was meant to be. That's and then crazy. I never left. It sucked me in and I never left.
That's crazy. Okay. So you currently do not work at that same clinic, or
I do, but part-time.
Moonlight? Okay. Awesome. Yeah. And so talk to me about the whole traveling vet side of things right now.
Yeah. So I became I went full-time traveling vet or locum veterinarian, meaning that I don't stay at one specific clinic. I go to many different clinics, and I'm almost like a contract worker. And I did that about 2 years ago. And the reason I did that, I just wanted more control over my own schedule, and I wanted to be my own boss. Yep. So when I wanted to take vacation, Josh knows that I love to travel. I didn't want to get, the approval or people telling me that I can't take the vacation then or anything like that. I just wanted to be able to take my vacation time and not have to worry about what I was coming back to. So
that's awesome. Okay. So where do you currently work right now? Where do you moonlight?
So which specific clinics or, so I work at a couple in the East End, and then I work at one in the Alta Vista area. And I work at both private and corporate owned clinics. And then Josh also knows that I own my own mobile practice where I do mobile euthanasias.
Yes. Okay. So 2 questions. One, what's the difference between the private owned and the corporate owned clinics? Yeah. I've heard a bit about this, but I'm curious.
No problem. So corporate owned means that they're owned by a corporation that can be either from Canada or not from Canada. And they own a bunch of different clinics. And then private owned means that it's owned by a local person.
We seem to be on the rise of corporate-owned clinics.
Yeah, especially in city centers. I find that majority of the clinics now are corporate-owned. There are very few private-owned practices now, which is one of the kind of downsides is that, the vets have a little bit less choice in what they're doing day-to-day when they're in a corporate practice. Whereas in a private practice, obviously, it's a little bit more mom and pop.
Yeah, kind of shape what you want to do. Okay, so the traveling piece with your home euthanasia. So, obviously you're seeing people on a pretty bad day, right? Yeah. You do dogs and cats, right?
Yes.
So I've had, kind of the sadness and pleasure of having you over to my house and put down one of my dogs it's gotta be 2 or 3 years ago, or
I think it's about a year.
Valor's only been gone a year.
So.
Oh man,
it feels like forever.
It does. Yeah, I know. So I had a 12-and-a-half-year-old Malamute who I've had since he was 3 months old, and everything was fine, and then he started declining. So, which is great for his quality of life was amazing right until the end. And I, instead of going to a vet and just doing this in some dark room with someone didn't know, I was able to call you, and that was fantastic.
Yeah.
It was amazing. You and your team were incredible. I really appreciated it. My kid appreciated it, for as hard as that was for her.
Yeah.
It was shitty, right?
Yeah. It's never going to be easy, even when you know it's time, right?
Man, and you know what? Like you said, at least we knew the hand was forced, right?
Yes.
It's not like so that was great. And I think it provides the animals with a lot of dignity and being comfort in their last few moments, and the family, I think too. So, what have you liked, and I wouldn't want to say disliked, but what are some of the challenges you face with doing that?
Sure. So like a lot of people, when they think about euthanasia, they always say it must be the hardest part of your job. And I don't want to say it's not difficult, but I find that I'm providing a service that is almost like a blessing. Like I am not allowing them to suffer until their last moments, especially when they're in their home. Like I've done both. Obviously, I do both all the time. Yeah. But I just find when they're in their home, it's so much more peaceful. They're surrounded by the people they love. They're in a place where they're the most comfortable. I actually started this when I worked at an emergency hospital, primarily because a lot of the times I would see animals coming into crash, meaning that they were coming in non-responsive and requiring CPR. And a lot of the times they were like senior pets who had been declining for a while. And that was, those last moments, this is what gets me choked up. Those last moments, I think of my own dog, and I would never want her to be in an emergency hospital with people doing CPR and the family crying and everyone's in hysterics. Yeah. It's so sad to see that as a pet's last moments. Yeah. Whereas, and sometimes that's inevitable. Like if your dog gets hit by a car, you can't, there's nothing you can do to control that. Yeah. But when I can control it and when I can make a pet more comfortable, that's what I'm most passionate about. I like to make them, it's the hardest day for everyone involved. So if I can make it even a fraction easier for those people and those pets, that's what I want to do. Yeah, no, that's fair. It's obviously awful, but having you and your partner there was fantastic, and I know that's something that we'll always remember too. So, and I imagine a lot of your clients will do. Yeah, and honestly, like people are so grateful for that opportunity. Not a lot of people know it exists, and it's fantastic. Yeah. So yeah, we'll make sure that her information is available in the show notes as well, because I do think this is something that more people should, I don't want to say take advantage of, but take advantage of, because it is that, that dignifying piece for people and for the animals, right? The least amount of cortisol in their body, right? Just like relaxed, and that's important. So I definitely felt it, even though, my kid at the time did not, but my dog did. But my dog did. Yeah. So no, it was great. Okay. So let's look at the clinic side of things now. Okay. So there's a lot I want to dive into here. Sure. What are some of the challenges you face inside of a clinic, both from the clinic, side, because you're your own boss and the client side of that too. Sure. Because you're seeing different people from all over. Yes. Sometimes you've seen them once, sometimes you've seen them 10 times, right? Yeah. So one of the major things, and this is like honestly the hardest part of our job, is that people may not realize what we're coming into the appointment with. So, I always strive to be my absolute best. And I know you do this too. You want to always be the best for your clients. You want to show up for your clients. But like sometimes I might have just come out of a 13-year-old dog that I've looked after for the last 5 years. I know his family very well. I just put him down, and now I have to go into a new puppy appointment, and I have to flip a switch and turn that on it's not even within like 30 minutes, it's within seconds. I have to switch that. There's no time for yourself. No. And so that can be hard, and that you always strive to be your best, but obviously you can't. Yeah. Right. And on that, isn't it, sadly, I think one of the
highest occupations with suicide rate is veterinarians.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, years ago, if you would have asked me, I would have been like, why?
Yes.
Yeah. Now I can absolutely fucking see why.
Yeah, absolutely.
From the way people treat you guys, to the, the euthanasia stuff, to your, just constantly having to cortisol rise, cortisol drop, cortisol rise, cortisol drop, right? And the effect that has on you, and not even unknowingly, right? So
yeah. And I think part of the thing that is a really big problem now, and you know this, is the access to information is not always a good thing, number one. Because people can't discern what is good information, what is bad information.
It's a struggle, right? Information I think is important. Like we need the access to it. It shouldn't be censored in any way, but it sucks because you can't just read an article, even no matter where it's from.
Yes.
Very few places can you go verbatim, right?
Yes, that's 100% correct.
So you need to be able to take from all sides, right? We see this politically, but we see it everywhere.
Yeah.
You need to be able to draw multiple, okay, I have, 3 journals saying this now. Okay, we can.
Yeah, and even when people like say, "Oh, I saw like a journal article or a scientific study with this," okay, but you don't know how to make sure that study is valid either. That study could have had a population of 3 individuals, right? That doesn't make exactly. It doesn't really. They don't know how to look at biases and things like that. So that's one piece to it, and then obviously there's also the side of it that there's reviews everywhere now. Everything can be posted online. So sometimes, especially in the medical field, and this is where the mental health of vets really can take a nosedive, is that people can post negative reviews online about you.
Oh, yeah.
And because it is a medical profession, we are bound by confidentiality. So we are not allowed to say what the correct story is.
Oh.
Everyone has their own shit they're going through. Everybody has shit they're going through. When my dog was in ICU, and we'll probably talk about that, but when my dog was in ICU, I was a basket case. I was driving back and forth to Montreal in the middle of winter.
Man. Yeah, absolutely.
I was not mentally well. And you know what? I still wasn't an asshole to people. Like, going through shit in your life does not justify you being an asshole to people. You have to be kind, and especially when you don't know what they're going through, right? Exactly. So, you don't know what anyone's going through.
Well, you have to assume that because you don't know.
Exactly.
You don't. Yeah. So, no, that's really interesting. I mean, clients all kinds, right? Like, especially on the vet side, like you can get blamed. And I think one of the biggest things about negative comments or stuff that's hurt and annoying, if it's, not factually correct, or people don't own up to their own shit. Yeah. That's a big one for me. I'm really bothered by that.
Yes. They're hand in it.
Yeah,
right?
totally.
Yeah.
And it goes for everything. Everyone always looks to displace or place the blame, right?
Yeah.
And so the other part of that is, most people who are happy with your service aren't always the ones who take the time and but
they're
people
usually
who are
not.
unhappy, exactly, are the ones who will fucking let every Tom, Dick, and Harry know, right?
Yes.
And Karens, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of it is such bullshit. Honestly, it really is. It doesn't mean you can't post a negative about something because you had a bad interaction with a service, any kind of service.
Yeah.
But you have to understand the damage that might do. Was it a personality conflict, or was it actually bad at her job, or thievery? You know what I mean? Like robbery, and so to speak. So.
And this is one of the biggest issues that I had when I was working in a clinic full time is that, you're not going to jive with every person. That's just, that's why when people are like, my dog's is dog selective. Well, do you like every person? No, of course you don't.
I literally tell everyone that. Yeah. Like, why does your dog need to go nose to nose with a dog? They don't. They fucking don't.
No. I don't like most people I meet. So.
Yeah, exactly. So
I always say my dog takes after me in that way.
That's so true. Yeah.
But I just like when I was in a practice full time and I see these clients who I know either don't trust my opinion or don't like me because our personalities clash, yet they continually come back and complain. And I'm like, you don't have to be here.
Switch.
Yeah. You're paying for my service. Yeah. I have to be here. Yeah. I don't have a choice, but you don't have to be here. Go somewhere else. Yeah. Like, this is one of the biggest pieces. And we were going to chat about this anyways. Choosing your vet. Choose someone who aligns with your interests. Yep. Like, you're not going to get on with every person. They're not going to have the same beliefs as you. And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. In life, in everything. That's
Yep.
okay. Not everyone has to agree on everything.
Yep.
Right?
No, I totally agree. And just like any other service, you want someone that aligns with either your vision or the way you want things done, right? And I think a vet is important, right?
Yeah.
Someone that gives you, one thing that since that day I met you in Starbucks, when we did our consult for Pippa and we were working with her, one of the biggest things that I have found is your directness. I really like that, and your ability to communicate, right? Your no bullshit approach. And that's something that you and I have very much in common, which I really like. But the ability to be kind on the other end, right?
Yeah.
Regardless of views or anything,
That's
right?
it.
Because I think that's important.
It is.
You mostly nowadays, it seems like you can't even share an opinion because you're just a fucking monster if it doesn't align with that other person. Well, it's like, well, let's move on, go grab a coffee and relax.
Yes.
It doesn't matter, right?
Not everything has to be an argument. Not everything has to be deep.
I know.
Not everything has to be deep. Why can't we just be lighthearted sometimes?
Yeah, exactly. So that's a big one I found. And I'm with you on this. So I finally found a vet in my area that I really like, because you're too far away. Yeah. Otherwise I would 100% see you. But I finally found one that aligned with my values and the way I want to do things because of her approach, because she was direct, because she wouldn't just order tests for no fucking reason. She would go,
she'd tell you why.
She would be honest. Yeah. I think you should do this but now because of the honesty she gave to me, I am much more likely to, if she tells me, I think this is a good idea,
this is when we need to do it.
I'm much more, okay, I trust you versus, no, fuck you. Like, you know what I mean? I don't, because a lot of people let's just test things for the sake of testing. Well, why? What do we get out of this, right? Like, guide me through this. So, because you're playing with people's money and time and everything. And don't get me wrong, like I want to be able to trust everything everyone says, but we can't, right?
No.
And that's not a shot at them personally, but like you said, the corporate side, who are they working for in that moment, right? Versus ma and pa.
Yeah. And we spoke about this in that you like that vet in that practice. And you don't have to like every person, every vet in that practice. Find someone who aligns with you. Because it's just like that. We don't know. We always don't know what everyone's going through, and you don't know who you're going to jive with. Yeah. So if you're jiving with that particular vet and you trust them, and just like that, like that's what one of my mentors' philosophies. I had an awesome mentor when I graduated. One of his main things, that was exactly it. He never recommended a test unless he needed to run it. And the reason he did that is because he said, when I recommend something, I want somebody to be like, you know what? If he says this, he's serious about it. Yeah. He means it. And that instilled a lot of trust in our clientele, which in the long run goes a long way.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And she, very much like you, she has her own clinic that she does outside and does the at-home euthanasia and stuff. So it's just funny how you guys are so similar, and the no bullshit approach. And I love it anyways. Good people all around in every profession. Just find them, right? Find them and fucking keep them.
That's it.
And keep them.
And treat them well.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And keep them and be kind to them, because like these people don't grow on trees.
No.
They don't, because there's a lot of shitty people in every profession.
And even within medicine, I would always say too, like one of the major things, and for you, because you do a lot of trips where you're always constantly learning more, right? You can get licensed, you can do whatever you want, and you can do nothing, right? You could stay and do nothing and not get any better. And you know what? That's what majority of people want to do, the bare minimum, right? Yeah. They're like, I don't want to, why would I work harder than I have to, right? Yeah. Whereas there are some people who are driven and want to continually improve themselves every day. Yeah. Those are the people that you want to go after, because, you know, if you're dealing with someone whose medical expertise hasn't been improving in 20 to 30 years. Yeah.
Well, this is the problem I see in training is the old thing of, oh, I've been doing this for 20 years. Well, I don't fucking care how long you've been doing something. Do you know how little that means to me? Like, I mean, like, and it gives me a view on you. It even makes my view on you more negative if I think you're garbage. Like, it's not because, and this could go for any service, but just because you've been doing something for a long time doesn't mean you've been doing it right, or you're good at it,
or
right?
well.
And I just think in the 4 years that I've been doing training, how much my program has evolved from day one to where it is now. I would argue it's completely different. Like, you know what I mean? Same kind of mantra, but the efficiencies have changed, terminology, the way we do things. Like, and you have to do that for everything.
Experience too, right? Yeah. The more you learn, dealing with people too, the more you have to improve.
How to navigate people, But I do find, like, on the training side, you know, through people reaching out to you and finding you, seeking you out, and what you charge as well, I think is important. You know,
that's a big piece.
It is, and it's funny if you're too cheap, then people that don't necessarily have skin in the game and don't care. Too expensive, might not be able to help everyone you want to help, right? So it's kind of that fine line, and and
valuing your services,
absolutely,
right?
and your time, which is important.
I go to different clinics, and every clinic has obviously different pricing for what they do, and sometimes you get what you pay for, right? Not sometimes, a lot of the times. So if there's a really cheap option, doesn't always mean it's the best option, right? Absolutely, that goes the other way too. Just because it's the most expensive option doesn't mean it's the best option, right? So it really, I wish people looked into their trainers, their vets, everything a little bit more, and did more background research on the individuals before going into it. Yeah. Because not everyone's the same. Yeah.
And I think that's the key point here is find a vet that works for you. There are a lot of them. We need more. Like I imagine from everything I hear, you guys are crazy busy. You can pretty much have work whenever you want it. You don't need to be in a full-time job. You can just take it and go, which is incredible. It's great for you. And it says something about where we're at. Everyone has, I joke about in Ottawa, you look at Ottawa's not a massive city. Sure, it's a bigger city, but it's not insane. It's not Toronto, and everyone has a dog. Everyone and their dog has a dog, right? That's just dogs, let alone cats and all that other stuff, right? So there's a huge need.
You can't even get a vet. So the people in my hometown, because the vets there are so busy, they actually have to travel to the States to get a vet if you don't already have one, because they're not for years they haven't been taking new clients on. So anyone new who has gotten a pet, they have to travel to the States.
Yeah, that's fair.
Which is not great. But telemedicine has helped with that a little bit. Obviously that has its own limitations. But.
For sure. Just saving random trips to the vet, I guess. Who's on the other line to that telehealth, like telemedicine?
So for it is licensed vets. For the most part, and we chatted about this before, but in Canada, you have to be licensed within your province. Okay. So if I'm doing a telehealth, I'd have to do it within my own province. Okay. So, and it's the same with the states. Every state, even though my licensing exam is for North America, so I'm licensed for North America, but every state and every province has their own ethics exam that you then have to do to be licensed in that province. Yeah. So let's say I have a client who moves to BC. Yeah. I cannot prescribe medication in BC. I have to only prescribe it in Ontario.
And I mean this with every ounce of my being. What a fucking joke that is. Like it is such
money grab.
It's fucking stupid, man. Yeah. Like just another way that they can take more money from you and then tax it to make more money back. Yeah. It's so fucking retarded. We live in the same country. The same medical standards apply. Don't give me this shit about Ontario being better than, you know what I mean? No. Like just make it countrywide.
And they don't do anything for us. Yeah. There's nothing that they do for us that, I think my licensing fee is $1,500 a year in Ontario. Just to maintain. Because why not? Yeah, exactly. That's troublesome, yeah. But it is what it is. That's in a lot of places too. You look at doctors, nursing, like all this type of stuff. Yeah. It does create a barrier though, because otherwise, because I'm a traveling vet, I could go and travel up to Nunavut. I could travel to the East Coast where they're really hurting for vets. Yep. But I can't because I don't want to spend another $1,500 on another license to go and work in another province.
And what's funny is because you could literally, travel, enjoy a vacation somewhere, do a few shifts there, pay for your vacation, and help out a place in need. Maybe a more remote location that you might not want to or get to go to in your lifetime. But it goes both ways, right? Yeah. Okay, so let's dive into the dog side of things. Why don't you tell us about Pippa?
Oh my gosh, yeah. So Josh knows my dog. I have a 10-year-old Jack Russell named Pippa. She is fantastic. She's crazy. She's so much fun. Whenever I tell people that I have a Jack Russell, their faces immediately like I've had Jack Russell since I was 3 years old. So I know the breed. I knew what I was getting into. Yep. I do not recommend them for anyone. Like you have
Unless
to be
you have a barn.
That's it. You have to be a specific type of crazy to have a Jack Russell because they are working. They're like a little tiny Malinois. Like they're just like they are working all the time and they're never off. Like they're never like she's 10 and she's still going. Like thank Thank God. Thank God she's still going. Josh knows that she was very, very ill about a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
I ended up having to drive her to Montreal for specialty care, which was really, really hard for me. And of course, it happened over New Year's and the holidays. So there was nobody that could take care of her.
Yeah.
I'll go into it a little bit just because I do think there's value in this, in that she was ill, but not super ill.
Okay.
But when you know your own pet, and this is why my experience with her completely changed how I approach care. Because a lot of times when people would be like, I know that this is not normal for them, I'm like, but your dog's 100% fine.
Yeah.
I take more stock into that now because everyone was telling me my dog was fine and that I could wait.
Yeah.
And I knew that she was not fine.
Yeah.
I was like, this dog is a psychopath. She does not show pain. If she's showing pain, it means that there's something extremely wrong.
Dogs are so stoic.
That's it.
Like you're talking working dogs on the street getting stabbed, shot,
and
then like just
keep
right
going.
back to the owner. Like it's fucking crazy.
Yeah, they're way better than we are.
Yeah. I stub my toe when I launch.
I know. So and then I ended up having to go to Montreal for care because she needs specialty surgery. But they're like, oh, you could wait until, because it was a Saturday. They're like, you could wait until Monday. Like, she's stable. Her blood values haven't changed. Nothing's changed. I'm like, no. I said, get the surgeon in. I know my dog. I know that she is not, this is not okay. The surgeon came in. He called me after the surgery. He said, if you had waited even like another hour, she would have been gone. Because she was one of those cases, like not everything. And this is why I always say this is like the best information. Treat the patient, not the numbers. Because her numbers were all fine.
Yep.
They were all normal. And I was looking at my dog and I knew that was not what was happening with her.
Yeah.
And by all, if I went through the textbook and was like, what should I choose to, or what should I look at when I need to go to surgery for her? She didn't check any of the boxes. But when she went into surgery and when the surgeon called me after, he said, if you had waited, she would not be here anymore.
Yeah. So there's you knowing your dog, but then also you being a vet and adding that in, like, okay, something,
that too.
What I don't think other people would have maybe made that, because that's extra money too, right?
Well,
like on the weekend and stuff too,
and
right?
Calling in the surgeon and all of that. So it was a lot. And that's what they were saying, it's going to be a lot more. I said, if I don't do this, I know she's not going to improve. Yep. And so that was really hard. Yeah.
For vouching for her, right? Like believing that, she was telling you something that maybe other people didn't know, right?
Yeah.
And I do think we know our dogs better than everyone. And I say that to my clients. I say, look, I might know your dog fairly well, but nobody knows them better than you. I don't know their different routines, different, the way they show pain, the way they show, whatever it might be. Yeah. So I think it's important to read those signs, read everything from tail position, ear position, mouth position, the way when they are in pain, what are the signs and symptoms, right? How are they eating, all these different things.
And I've had test results come back. Like I've done every test in the book on animals that are not well, and they've all come back normal, and the animal has died the next day. There is sometimes not a reason that we can find medically that can show why they're not feeling well, but it doesn't mean that they're not feeling well, right? And that's one of the big pieces with euthanasia too, is like, just because everything looks okay, if their quality of life is declining, you have to make that decision.
No, I agree, and that speaks to the dignity piece, right? At home, and versus getting ahead of it, versus waiting for that to progress to something that is emergency. It's sad, right?
But it is hard because you're living. I'm not trying to make that the human-animal bond is not important. It's the hardest decision you're ever going to have to make in your pet's life, especially when you're doing it beforehand. When you're kind of, I don't want to say preemptively, because there's quality of life checklists you can kind of look,
pre-planning, right?
But you kind of are pre-planning their death, which is not something that we do a lot in our lives.
Nope.
And it can throw people for a loop. But what I always say is it's not bad to let them go on a good day. So let's say they've been declining, and more often than not, they're having more bad days than good. But now they're having a good day. And this happens almost all the time. Like you've probably seen it with your own pets. You bring them into the vet when they're really not doing well. And then all of a sudden they're acting like they're like, I swear they were really ill. Yeah. It's like an adrenaline response. Sometimes they just have a good day.
Yep.
But that doesn't mean that every day is going to be good, or that they won't just crash the next day, right?
And it's so hard to tell in dogs, too.
100%.
It's so fucking hard. And that's why get to know your dog. The way they move, you touch, get used to handling them, their paws, their joints, their movements, all of it. Just whatever you can, because the more information you can give the vet at that time too, that might be the difference between something else that she's seen or, he's seen before.
Like when I touch your dog's paw, does it always shriek like this? Cause it's a Chihuahua and it hates its feet being touched, or is it actually in pain?
Fucking Chihuahuas. Okay. So a couple things I want to dive into here.
Sure.
Okay. Give me your top 5 breeds that you're like, when they walk in the door in your clinic, in your room, and you're like, fuck. What are your top 5
medically
breeds?
or behaviorally?
Both.
Those are different
Let's
things.
start medically.
Okay, medically, any bulldog, because they're a disaster.
They're fucking wrecks.
They're just train wrecks. They're not bred to survive. I don't know if you know this, but bulldogs actually can't even give birth naturally anymore. What? Every bulldog that you see
How did we do that?
They're born by cesarean section because their heads are so big that they cannot fit through the birth canal. That's how unnatural bulldogs are.
Is that just through breeding lines?
Yeah, that's through breeding them really excessively for specific traits. So they have these big heads that don't fit through the canal anymore, so they have to get C-sections.
Wow, so it's pre-planned. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so bulldog.
Any bulldog. Or brachycephalic breeds, so pugs, things like that.
Yeah.
Medically wise, honestly, and this is gonna be a hot take.
I know who you go.
Doodles.
Yeah.
Because there's no like genetic planning. So they're trying to be a purebred dog.
Yeah.
But they're not, and they're these backyard breeders who are just mixing a lab and a poodle, who their hips haven't been checked, their hearts haven't been checked. The things that can be wrong with those breeds haven't been checked.
Genetic lines are all over the place. Yeah.
Behaviorally, this is what you see. Genetics play a huge part in behavior, and they're just any Tom, Dick, or Sally can put together a doodle. And
so I want to reiterate something that she just said there, and it's something I don't think that I put as much value and effort into as I did then as I do now. Is genetics, behavior.
Yes.
Holy fuck.
Huge.
I give so much more value and weight to genetics now in 100%. The way dogs are. Not just their breed qualities or instincts, but how they are behaviorally. And I've given it a lot more weight, and I do my best to not to treat the dog in front of me and not as a breed.
Yes, 100%.
Right? And I find that's very important. And I've definitely improved on that moving forward. It's like, I saw 10 Jack Russells, but now this one is this, and Doodles are the same thing. Oh, my Doodle's so sweet. Yeah. It jumps and fucking bites. It's an asshole. It runs around. It whines constantly. It can't sit still.
Causing me anxiety.
Fuck, man. It's not supposed to do that, right? Like you're literally anxiety, your dog's gonna die of anxiety.
Yeah.
Like, fuck.
100%.
So, and that's one thing is I find Shepherds, their claim to fame was just their loyalty, their everything. I have 2. I fucking love German Shepherds.
Yeah.
I hit the jackpot with my 2 in terms of their temperaments, but you see the other end. You see anxious messes all the way up to aggressive assholes, and you look at that line because they are backyard bred. They are because everyone wants them, right? Fire out German Shepherds. Well, now, fuck, how many? Sarah, one of our trainers who also runs For the Love of Dogs Ottawa. Yes. I mean, fuck, she can't give away Shepherds sometimes, and these are beautiful dogs, but just they're messes, and they get bad behavior or reputations, right? And Doodles are on that same track right now, and I start to see it a lot more.
And one of the major things with genetics and behavior that it's not even a behavior problem, it's that genetics play a part in their behavior, in that what are they bred to do?
Yeah.
Because if you're getting a Malinois or you're getting a healer or you're getting a herding breed and you're like, and they're nipping, these are things that they're genetically bred to do.
It chases my kids.
Yes.
No, like, you don't say.
Why did we get this working dog? And especially from working lines, because there are working lines and show lines.
Yeah.
And then you're wondering why your dog is losing its mind, anxiety, biting, doing all these things. It's because that's what it was bred to do. Yeah. It's not bred to stay in an apartment. It's bred to run in fields.
I'm going to do a full episode just on picking a few breeds and and more common breeds, Shepherds, herding breeds for sure. Yes. Because too many people get herding breeds and go, well, why are they so crazy?
Yeah.
Well, fuck. Besides photos, did you do any research on these dogs at all? And then people don't understand, and then they end up giving them away. Or Huskies. Oh, I love Huskies because their coats, and they fill the shelters. You saw this, like you see this in the States, you see this in Canada right now. Huskies are amazing. I fucking love them. Like I'm a Husky guy. Yeah. But they're a different breed. They need work. They need constant, I wouldn't say constant stimulation, but they need to have structure in their life, because if they don't, well, they're gonna fucking run their own life. They're independent as fuck.
And we shouldn't be surprised by this.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be surprised by this. And yet people are like, and one of the things that you said there, rehoming, I don't always think that's a bad thing.
Yep.
And I know you don't either.
No.
Because sometimes people make mistakes and they get into these breeds that they're just not suited towards. And their dog has behavioral problems because of it. And they can never fulfill those needs.
Yeah.
It's okay to rehome them. It's okay, but it's also like I also feel in the sense that you have to live in the bed that you made and you have to at least work on it or try.
People give up way too easily too,
That's
right?
it.
And part of the time, maybe circumstances change in their life and everything, but everyone uses...
there are things that are out of our control,
exactly,
yes, but...
People use that as an excuse to get out of things too, right? We do it all the time for life and definitely for animals. Well, we can fucking give this to somebody else, right?
Yeah, make it somebody else's problem.
I just want $250 for it, someone else's problem. It's like, well, fuck. You put in, $1,000 worth of training or $1,500 worth of training, and this dog could be your best friend for life. You know what I mean? It's but you're right. There are times when it's time to rehome and move on.
Yes.
It's an unpopular opinion, but it's true.
Yeah.
Okay. So bulldogs, doodles. What else you got?
So this is medically. What else? I'm trying to think of what are like messes that I see, and I'm like, oh no. Bulldogs are like 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, I'm not trying to hate on bulldogs, but they're just not healthy.
Yeah. They are really cute. I especially when you have owners that take care of their weight, because the weight is a big one for them.
Huge.
It's they are really cute.
Yes,
I
they
don't mind
can
them.
be.
Yeah.
I couldn't live with the breathing. The breathing causes me anxiety. But this is like an aside. But a lot of times you'll see actually videos of them being intubated in vet clinics, and they'll actually, after they're recovering from anesthesia, be walking around with their endotracheal tube in. So bulldogs will walk around with their ET tube in because they have very narrow tracheas. Their airway is very small. And when we intubate them for surgery, it's the best way they can breathe. So they don't want us to remove. Sometimes we're trying to remove the tube and they're like, no, I can breathe. God. I can breathe. Let me keep my tube. So I think those are like, bulldogs, doodles. There are some like giant breed dogs that just have problems just because of how big they are.
Yeah.
So like, Danes can have like joint issues and things like that. And then unfortunately there's cancer factory dogs that I'm not
really
sad to see on my schedule, but when they come in ill, I take a little bit more stock in it.
Okay.
Bernese mountain dogs.
Really?
Cancer factory dogs.
Why?
Genetics. Golden retrievers. So when I was at the Ontario Veterinary College, they are gorgeous. Yeah. They're such good family dogs, which is hard. But like when I was at the Ontario Veterinary College, and this is probably still true to this day, you go to the cancer ward where they're getting like treatments, and one side of the entire ward is golden retrievers, the other side of the ward is Bernese mountain dogs. Wow. And that's how prevalent it is.
Wow.
So when those dogs are like coming in and they're ill and they're senior, I take a little bit more stock in it than other
just
breeds.
Based on your past experiences.
Behaviorally,
give it to me. I know we're going down small breed central right now.
No. Actually, German Shepherds.
Okay.
And that is not to the fault of the dog. That's not to the fault of the dog. It's the fault of the human a lot of the times.
Because they're rarely trained.
That's it.
Yep.
And they're these anxiety messes.
Yep.
And just because of the power behind them, right?
Oh, yeah.
So when they go to bite, it's a lot more worrisome than if yes, Chihuahuas are always trying to bite me, but do I care if this 2-kilo dog is going to bite me? No.
Your day isn't over. You're fine at night. Yeah. And
most of them don't have teeth, so it doesn't hurt.
And if you have any dog, but specifically, I'm going to speak to working lines of any breed. Train your fucking dog. Seek training and train. I don't care.
It's not my responsibility.
Go on YouTube and get fucking training. I don't care. There's lots of good information out there. Just do fucking something, because they are messes. They can be messes. It is so important. Yeah. You don't need to have a fucking show dog for the average person, but your dog needs to know, you need to learn how to communicate with your dog. And there are lots of options out there.
Your dog is your problem. So I should not be the one responsible in a 20-minute appointment, 20 to 30 to 45 minutes. There is only so much I can do behaviorally before I get into the medical side of it. So if your dog comes in and it's already in a red zone, it's already trying to bite me, number one, that limits my ability to do my job safely and to do it at all. Because if I can't look in its mouth, if I can't touch it without it freaking out, how am I supposed to do an exam and take any note in what I'm finding, right? The number one thing for any of those working line, muzzle train your dog.
Yeah.
I'm a lot less nervous if I have a shepherd with a basket muzzle on, because the worst that's going to happen is going to muzzle punch, which does hurt, which does hurt.
No damage
but no long-term damage. Whereas, you know, if the owners are unable to even muzzle the dog themselves and they want me to do something about it, I'm like,
yeah. Well,
like, let me wave my magic wand. There's
true.
only so much I can do. So shepherds for sure. Cane Corsos, unfortunately, can be quite bad in the vet clinics.
Yeah.
I find that they're one of those breeds that go either way. So they're either like these sucky, like cute,
nervy messes. I find that actually I've seen.
They're like fear aggressive and they're like sketchy and not okay. So that's another one that I have issues with. Rottweilers, unfortunately, a lot of the time. Small breed dogs, again, like there are some that I guess I worry less about them because it's not going to hurt as much. Like those dogs can kill you, whereas a Chihuahua, not as much. Chihuahuas are almost always bitey. So that's another one. And we talked about corgis, unfortunately, are another one that are quite bitey. Wiener dogs, dachshunds.
Yes, I see
are very bitey.
Yeah, those ones are always it's funny when you put them in their place. Because, and the thing is with them is they have such medical kind of, you have to be careful with them too, right? Same with like Frenchies and Bostons and stuff. So yeah, there's a lot of small breeds out there. Like
there's a lot.
The good ones, and then there's ones that I'm just like, behaviorally, you are a fucking wreck.
I will say that the trouble, and I am not one, like I know back in the day, vets used to be like, you know, they'd pin a dog to the ground and get it done. That's gone a lot by the wayside now. Most clinics are fear-free. They try their best not to make it a traumatic experience, especially with smart breeds like a German Shepherd. Like you are not working in your favor if you piss them off on their first visit, right?
They'll never come back.
Or they'll never trust you again. So, you know, you're not working in your favor. But the smaller breed dogs, like sometimes it's also not, if they're trying to bite and they're trying to go after us, we cannot safely restrain them without hurting them.
Yeah. I can put a lot of weight on a Shepherd versus a Chihuahua.
One thing I'm a huge advocate for, and I actually don't know your opinion about this, but pre-visit pharmaceuticals.
Okay.
So let's say, and it's not for every dog, so I will say that 100%, like it's not for every dog. But if your dog is anxious at the vet, give them drugs beforehand. You just ask your vet and they will give them drugs.
Like trazodone or gabapentin or something?
Yeah, just to zen them out. It's not going to... With the caveat, it doesn't work for every dog. So let's say I have one working line Belgian Malinois. He cannot come in on pre-visit pharmaceuticals because it decreases his bite inhibition. He is so spun that he's like, when he does not feel his 100%, it makes him more reactive because he's like, he's seeing mushrooms. He's more reactive to whatever he's doing. So he will just like look at a wall and growl. So for him, it doesn't work. But for most general dogs, if we can bring them down from a red zone to like even a yellow before we start our exam, it helps a lot.
Absolutely.
Like, and especially like I don't have hours and hours and hours of time to spend getting to know your dog to make them trust me. I have 10 minutes.
And so on that, just to speak, okay, so every time you guys bring your dog to the vets and you notice that they're a bit like out of whack or they don't love it, well, guess what? Every time you go there, you're going to create that, continued negative experience, right? Through no fault of anyone's. How about you go there sometimes and just hang out in the waiting room and do a couple quick rewards, treats, and then leave, right? It's important to familiarize your dog with the different environments and reward them in those environments. So if you have a good relationship with your vet, hey, is it a good time if I come in right now because your waiting room isn't full and it's not dog reactive or something like that? Bring your dog in and do some training in there with the dog. 100%. I think that's so important.
And I advocate for this at our clinics. We call them positive cookie visits. Because if you think about it, if every time you go into a place you get stabbed with a needle, would you want to go there? No, exactly. And they know that.
Not
and
without a safe word.
Like why would they want to come in? Why would they want to be friendly towards me if every time I see them I'm stabbing them, right?
But then people get angry, they'll add more pressure, which then brings the dog's anxiety up. And harnesses, fuck my life. Harnesses, fuck. Yeah, we'll leave that one alone. I think people know my feel on harnesses and their use, and I think very specifically they have use for very specific situations. Control is not one of them.
No,
not at all. No. So always control the head and neck. For humans, this is the only way to do it. And for dogs, it's the only way to do it. So I honestly won't even listen to any other reason because I think it's bullshit. And if anybody tells you it's bad for your dog, like shut the fuck up. I can't just shut the fuck up because what you're doing to these dogs with these harnesses, constantly pulling, especially if you're hooking them to the front with these no pull harnesses, It's through no fault of any owner. But what you're doing is you're actually changing the shape and growth of these dogs' like shoulders. And you see it. You've seen it on. They've done studies, and it's crazy.
And flexi leashes. For the love of God, do not bring your dog to the vet on a flexi leash, especially when it's like these 140-pound.
That's going as a trailer on the social. Yeah.
Can you not? Like, and then the worst is when the clicker thing is broken. Fails, yeah. I'm like,
and they gotta hold this line and it's like burning their hand.
Yeah, I'm like, this is just a hot mess. Sorry, back to cookie visits. Yeah. Yes, please do it because like just go and the staff can give them treats. I even walk them around. Oh, right. Like get amazing. Them on the scale, they're happy, and then they leave, and then nothing bad happened.
Boom, toy reward gone. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
no,
so
I think
good.
that's so important. Yeah. Okay, so the last thing I want to touch on in quickly is so behavioral euthanasia. Okay. Yes. So we talked about genetics and different behaviors, and a lot of people are like, well, this dog is a rescue and different things. And while I understand that might play a role in the initial kind of first few weeks, months, long term, it doesn't, to me, I don't buy that anymore. Dogs move on from things. They do. They're very trusting. They move on. If they're not moving on, there's a reason. Right?
There's something wrong.
So either we're doing something wrong on the training side or at home, or, this is the way it is.
Yep.
And if it is the way it is, I always look at reactivity and aggression as two different things. A lot of people think, oh, my dog's aggressive. No, your dog's not aggressive. Your dog's reactive.
Yep.
Pippa's a great example. Pippa's just reactive, right? She was a great example. And there's a lot of dogs that just, I don't need to fucking chew every dog's face off on a walk, right? And it's fine. You move on and you go. There are some dogs that are actually aggressive and it's dangerous.
Yes.
And they will kill a dog. They will severely injure a dog and or a human, which we can't have happen, right? No. We can't have kids getting bit. We can't have, that's why I'm big on off-leash control. And again, every fucking unpopular opinion, every fucking dog should be e-collar trained. Yeah. Every fucking dog from the Chihuahua to the fucking St. Bernard and everything in between.
Off-leash control is so important. It's like from the amount of hit by cars that come in, it's it's such unnecessary deaths. Yeah. Like, and if you do not have that control, your dog should not be off.
Yeah, like, put them in a confined area.
Yeah,
I know it sucks.
Crazy, but
and if you don't like it, spend the time to get training, because guess what? I can get your dog off leash. Yeah. Right? That's what we do. So seek up professional and do that. So behavioral euthanasia. What lines do we look for? And that's always tough, right? Where's the training fails versus like, and this is not about training. This dog will kill or hurt someone, right?
Yeah. So this is a really controversial topic, obviously. I am not the one who's going to go and say, like, you have to kill your, like, every dog, like that is not something that is, I'm that type of person. But if it is necessary, I will be the person who says that. And so there are some examples of this. There are some dogs who genetically or just something happened in their fear period when they're babies, that from the time that they, like, I've had puppies from 8 weeks old come in that are already aggressive, human aggressive.
Yeah.
That is not okay. Like that, an 8-week-old puppy should not be coming into me and being, and biting aggressively, not teething, biting aggressively to hurt. Yeah. That's not okay.
No.
So those ones are very difficult cases that sometimes no matter what training the owner does, no matter how much time and money they put in. I had one from the time it came in. This is another breed. Sorry, these ones should take the cake. I just thought of this for behavioral dogs that number 1 and number 2 that I do not want to see. They're pushing German Shepherds off. Oh. Shar-Peis and Chow Chows.
Oh, fucking Chow Chows, yeah.
They are so bad.
Yeah,
they're
sharp.
So bad.
No pun intended, but they're sharp. Yeah,
oh my God.
Nervy messes. Yeah.
Yes, and that's they're not bred to be family dogs either. Yeah. So those dogs, I would love to be proved wrong. Someone show me a nice Chow Chow, show me a nice Shar-Pei. Yeah. I'm here for it. Yeah. I always am happy to hear.
The rule, not the exception.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But those ones typically are quite bad. And I had a Chow Chow puppy who from 8 weeks old was that type of aggressive. Yeah. The owner got him into training right away, tried everything. Yep.
Good on him.
And and they listened to us at the first. We're like, this is not okay. Like, this dog is not okay. He just progressively got worse. Yeah. He was starting to stalk his owners around the house to attack them. This is not a dog you can safely rehome. And this is one thing that I want to say is that it is not always the person's job to find a rehoming situation. There are very few people who are, if any at all, that are capable of dealing with behavioral cases like that. Sarah's one of them. Sarah can take on, but those people usually have so many dogs.
But even Sarah, so to use an example, I mean, then she has to fucking block book everything else off.
Yeah.
She can't help 10 other dogs because she's got to manage one dog.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, and I'm going to catch some fucking hate for this, but sometimes the best option is to fucking remove that dog from life. It's not great. It sucks. That dog was dealt an unfair hand genetically. But I'm sorry, it is not our job to always find a better place for that dog to live out its life, because it is just waiting to hurt someone.
That's it.
So it's managing. So we can manage reactivity. I have a great, a lot of, I find people who get pit bulls, there's a type, right?
Yeah.
And it's fine. It's type. But a lot of those people, some of them do their research big time. They get them, they train them, they work hard, they manage the issues that they have, and they're good. They're amazing family dogs, great. They just want to be literally inside of you, right? But then you have others who don't, and they don't understand the breed they're getting, right? And the genetically, there's a lot of just backyard breeding that has led us to this. Well, all these dogs are bad, banning the pit bull is an example, right? Like, is it fair to ban a whole breed, or what can we control versus what we can't control? Because they're being bred regardless. And there's a lot of backyards out there you can't,
Well, this is the problem too with, like, I am not one for breed specific legislature. I think that it is the biggest crock of bullshit that there ever was, because what it did in Ontario is, before that this breed specific legislature came in and you actually had like breeders for pitties, they were like exactly that. They're family dogs. They're really nice dogs. But then what happened was, when they became illegal, the type of people who started owning them, unfortunately, or breeding them, were people who were not always savory people. Yeah. And then we got into these genetic messes that are, or they were breeding them specifically for that. They were breeding them specifically for those traits to be more aggressive.
Yeah, which is
sad.
sad.
And that's not what the breed is naturally like, right? So yeah, I'm not a fan of it. I've been bitten way more by other breeds of dogs than I've ever been bit by a pit bull. But an aside, where were we going with this? I lost my train of thought.
Just the behavioral euthanasia piece. It's time, when sometimes it's just time.
And these owners are never like wanting to do that. Nobody wants to do it. Yeah. But it's always getting to a point where it's a safety thing. Like, I have so many that have been human bites. I've had a couple where I had one where the dog, for many years, he had an alert on his file saying like super aggressive. He was like a 130-pound boxer mastiff mix. Yep. I never had a problem with him. But he had records that had said that he like could flip a switch.
Okay.
One day, the owner was out in the yard, and he was actually behind a door, and whether neighbors came over, and I don't know if it was the hat the neighbor was wearing that day or whatever, the dog got through the door and latched onto their neighbor's neck, put the neighbor into the hospital.
Holy fuck.
In ICU. I think he was there for 40 days. He almost
died. Yeah.
Almost died. And in that situation, public health actually came and witnessed the euthanasia because they had to make sure that, this dog was removed from the planet. That dog needs
to be put down right away.
So that was one of the cases. And the owners they were like, when that happened, they knew because he hadn't done something like that before. Yeah. There's one other thing I want to talk about. I'll get to in a second, though. I'm going to ask you about it. Yes, behavioral euthanasia. That dog, it needed to go. We can't save every animal. Medically, behaviorally, we cannot. This is like one of the biggest things for trainers to learn, for new vets to learn. We can't save every animal.
Nor is it our job to, in fairness.
And nor should we.
And nor fucking should we. I agree. And that's a problem. And some people instantly will get angry with that.
Yeah.
And you know what? Take your anger elsewhere. I don't fucking care, because guess what? You're all you're doing is rehoming that potentially rehoming that animal to another place where it's going to hurt someone.
Yes.
And there's management for sure with some dogs, and you can they can have amazing lives.
Yep.
But you shouldn't manage the dog to the point of it can't fucking see or be anyone, or it'll kill a kid. Yep. You know what I mean?
Do you know how many clients I have that their dogs have bitten their children and refuse to give the dog up? I'm like,
I believe that.
What are we waiting for? Are you waiting for it to kill your child, maim your child? There's
losing the use of their arm or something because they
say, they're just snapping at the air beside the child. You're okay with that? Or I'm not okay with that around your child. Like
in training, I joke about like corrections or like a 1 to 10 scale, right? Like, you know, if my dog doesn't sit, it's not a huge correction, little things like that. I talk about the time I always give an example of what a 10 correction looks like. And that's me kind of right hooking a dog is if it's biting me. Like, guess what? Like, it's game on at that point.
Yeah.
Because guess what? What would another dog do if that dog bit another dog? Well, it's going to fucking bite back, right? It's the same concept. So why should we not be allowed to recorrect? Yeah. It doesn't mean you're doing that
maliciously,
to maliciously or preemptively or hurt them. No, and the goal is never put them in the vet. Never do none of that at all. Like none of that at all. But this whole, you know, the punishment has to fit the crime, right?
Yeah.
Immediate, impressionable, inescapable, positive punishment. The whole goal of a punishment isn't to be a dick. It's to reduce the behavior, right? Yeah. So if I don't correct my dog in that moment when it's doing something like snapping beside my child, man, I need to manage my child more carefully in that situation. True, yes. And then that dog needs to know that that is the last fucking option. Yeah. You will do that ever, right? Like it has to know that. If you don't, you're doing a disservice to your dog and someone is going to get bit or hurt. Or put in the hospital. Yeah, like exactly. And then he gets put down anyway. So why not do the correction that's needed? And you might never have to deal with this again. There's a chance, right? And training, always get training, like realistically. So, okay. So that is a big subject. It is touchy. I know that. And it is tough. And you know, where to draw the line, when do you actually do it? But yeah, I have my own thoughts on it. I have a pretty good idea on what I would put down and what I wouldn't, or what I would manage and train. But that's just my comfortability regarding the dogs. Not a lot of people know or understand how to handle these types of dogs. Yeah. And they still get them.
One thing I wanted to chat about, and I thought about it during the last chat, is that a lot of people, number one, get very offended when I ask to muzzle their dog. I have such strong feels about this because they get really offended, or they even get mad and upset, or they get combative with me about it. I'm not arguing about this. This is this is the mountain, my hill to die on. I'm drawing the line because they say, well, my dog's never bit before. He's never bit you. You've also never stabbed him with a needle. Yeah,
stuck a thermometer in his ass.
I'm sorry, but you've never pushed them. My job, I have to push them beyond their comfort level. Always, every day. If your dog, especially if it's bigger than me, for sure, but if your dog is whale-eyed, it's tight facial muscles, its ears are back, it's staring at me.
Licking its lips.
It's licking its lips. Its hair standing on end. They're like, oh, but they've never bitten before. I don't care. He's showing me signs that he's ready. Yeah.
He's communicating. So he's using his voice right now, regardless of him actual talking. And he's letting you know, hey, you touch me under the armpit, I'm going to bite you.
Yes.
That is their only way to communicate. They can't just pick up their hand and put it on you and go, hey, I don't like that you're doing that right now. They're giving you all sorts of signs.
Yes.
Dogs rarely, almost fucking never, will just bite for no reason. Or there's always a sign. Might be subtle, might be really clear. But it's important to recognize those signs and recognize your dog's signs when your dog is uncomfortable.
And even when I explain those signs to their owners, sometimes they still don't want that. I had one Akita owner who she couldn't put a muzzle on her dog, and she wanted me to look in the dog's ears. When I use an otoscope, my face is like touching their face.
Yeah, nope.
And I said, no, I'm not willing. I can't look in your dog's ear if you can't put a muzzle on. And she said, well, can you get me a vet who's not afraid of my dog?
There's the door.
So I ended up never seeing her again. I said that I refuse to see. It's not safe for me or my staff. And we chatted about pre-visit pharmaceuticals. It's not always an option. Let's say your dog is sick. Well, we can't always give those medications. Yeah. But even if it's sick, sometimes it's still at a really red zone for treatment. I don't have a choice but to put a basket muzzle on your dog. And unfortunately, I don't care if you don't like it. My job is not to make the human comfortable. My job is to treat the patient in front of me. And I'm going to do that with kindness, obviously. But if the pet is sick, I have to protect my staff and protect myself so that I can continue to care for other pets for the rest of the day. If one of my staff members gets bit, if I get bit, I have to go to the hospital. That's like dozens of patients throughout the day that are now not getting the care that they need.
Do you want your dog on muzzle order and destruction order potentially, other than just putting a fucking muzzle on it? Just because
for 3 seconds.
You're protecting someone else who's helping you, like you in this case, right? Like why wouldn't you just muzzle the dog?
And they get very offended by it. And I'm like,
People are offended about everything.
I know.
Ariana, who fucking cares?
I know. Piss everyone off with everything.
Fuck, I'm over it, man. Yeah, I love it. So, okay.
Josh is like, get them, send them to me, send them to me.
Honestly, though, yeah. So, yeah, I might never see them again. Yeah. Okay, so last thing I want to touch on is the only, what are some things that people can have at home for their dogs to not necessarily avoid vet visits at all, but just to make sure that should something happen in that moment, whether it be, allergic reactions, anything like that, what are things they can do at home, level 1 of care before seeking further?
Everyone should have Benadryl in their cupboard, number 1. You can give as many milligrams as your dog weighs in pounds.
Perfect.
Okay?
Yeah, that's
so
great.
if your dog is 50 pounds, you can give 50 milligrams. You can do it as often as every 8 hours, but sometimes people start with every 12 hours. Okay. Why is that important? Let's say you're at the cottage, your dog gets bit by a bee. You're 30 to 40 minutes away from a hospital. Yeah. You got to give them something. I would still say get in the car and drive just in case they go like full anaphylactic and they need steroids, but at least that way you have something to start and it's something you can do.
Help keep an airway open.
That's it. That's it. So that's first and foremost. Okay. Alcohol is another one. Okay. Wounds. So let's say you're out at your cottage, your dog slices its pad on something in the water. Put alcohol on it, keep it clean. A lot of people think hydrogen peroxide is like the thing to use. It's not. Use alcohol. You know what hydrogen peroxide is used for in most hospitals? We use it to get blood stains out. That's all. It's not used for like literally anything else because it's useless. Yeah. So use alcohol, clean it out, keep it clean and dry. If you can't get to your vet, like having non-adhesive bandages, so ones that are not going to stick to a wound, so that when you pull them off, it's going to pull everything off. They're called Telfa pads. Those are really nice to have. You can get them at Shoppers until you can get to seen by your vet, because like some people go to cottages 3 to 4 hours away. You can't get to your vet. You have to do something to keep it clean and dry.
Send me the link for those pads and I'll put them in the notes as well.
Yeah, those are a big one. I'm trying to think of anything else like nails. Have cornstarch, flour, quick stop, whatever. Like, do you know how many people are like, my dog's nail won't stop bleeding? This is a veterinary line that you learn when you're doing surgery. All bleeding will stop. Unless your dog has a platelet disorder, the bleeding will stop. Put pressure on it and put flour, cornstarch, quick stop.
That's something that's not a major bleed.
You don't need to go to your vet for that. Right away. Like unless it's becoming infected, manage that at home first. So quick stop, cornstarch, flour, putting that in and just hold pressure. Hold pressure. It will stop. Don't
eventually
panic.
It'll clot.
Yes. I think those are probably like the major ones to have for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Do you recommend any like for like digestion stuff, like any of the supplements? Do you care for that?
Having a gastro food on hand. If you don't have like a gastrointestinal specific diet, those ones are formulated to be number 1, nutritionally balanced, and they're easier for them to digest. So if they're going to have to be on something a little bit longer term for their gut, those are the ones I would go into. Okay. But if you're like out somewhere and you don't have the option for that, or you want to just try something at home, boiled rice, boiled pasta, boiled lean ground beef, boiled chicken breast. Okay. Start with that if they're not eating.
Keep it super clean.
Super easy. Nothing fancy. And do that until A, they're not vomiting, or B, their bowel movements have been normal for like 48 to 72 hours. Because a lot of times what people do is their bowel movements normalize and then they immediately put them back onto kibble and then it just goes back again. You need to like give their body, like when you have gastro, you don't just immediately go and like eat a taco again, right? Like
I want to.
I mean, yes, but you don't. So that's a good one. Fortiflora is another one. You can get that at Amazon. Anywhere, pet stores. Within 24 hours, usually they're mixing that into their food for cats and dogs. It works really well. Okay. And the last one for digestive issues is psyllium husk.
Yes. I asked you about this before.
Yes. Plain fiber, plain unflavored psyllium husk. I should have stocks in psyllium husk. The amount of people I'm like, and just like everyone should go on it. So psyllium husk is a big one. And you can do like, it's very forgiving. You can like titrate it up. Start with like a teaspoon or 2. And then if it's still not firming up, you can give more and more and more but just watch you don't go the other way and become like constipated. But no, use this, and you can get it. It's so cheap. Bulk Barn in Ottawa, Cardish has it. Amazon has it. Like you can get it anywhere. Plain unflavored psyllium husk.
Perfect. I'm gonna make sure all this is available in the show notes. I think that's great. Okay. Thank you so much for our chat today. I know we covered a lot of different topics.
Yes.
I'm excited in the future to dive into some specific questions because I know a lot of people are going to have, because obviously we can't address everything.
No.
We can't, we can sit here for hours and mostly it'll just be us bantering about fucking shitty breeds. So,
or shitty clients.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So many. We're so lucky, honestly, in our community.
If you're not good, Josh aspired you.
Oh man, totally. And people fade away, right? But I would say an overwhelming majority of our clientele, once they're with us, they stay with us.
Yeah.
And all of our trainers have reported that.
And it's a community.
And honestly, it's exciting because that community is going to grow. And it continues to, and it's pretty amazing because there's some fucking pretty cool dog people out there.
Yeah, there are.
I've met a ton of some of my best friends through this, which is so random. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Looking forward to talking in the future.
Yes.
Awesome. So thank you everyone for listening. I hope you enjoyed our talk with Dr. Ariana Spina today.
Thanks guys.
And look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks. Take care. Bye.